This is Carol, and we're continuing our series about what to do if you have a power failure when the lights go out. We had mentioned in our first video about stockpiling foods that don't have to be refrigerated. So our video tonight will talk about using those items, and we're going to be cooking on what I call a Coleman stove. It's a gas-fired stove, camping stove, and this one has 2 burners, so we're going to use both of those tonight and cook a chicken supper and see how that goes. So here we go. First of all, light the stove. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is to make some rice. For this recipe, we're going to use 1 cup of water, some spices, and then a ½ cup of rice, because you cook 2 times water to 1 time of rice when you cook rice. So this rice is in our stockpile, and hopefully this gadget will get it open for me. We've got the water boiling already. I love cooking with gas. Now I know what they're talking about, how fast it cooks. So we've got a ½ cup of the rice in there. I like to put some seasonings in things. This is seasoned salt with a sprinkler. It's always better to salt your rice when you're cooking it instead of, the other thing that I've got here are minced onions. These will keep in your food stockpile for quite a while, and then instead of having to get a fresh onion, you can do that. The other thing I've done is I picked a bunch of our longevity spinach that we have in our hidden food forest, and I'm just going to cut some little slices of this in here, make our rice more nutritious. Got a few more here. Might as well use them up right there from the food forest. Anybody else walking by these, as we talked about in another video, anybody else walking by these plants would never recognize that they are edible, but the nutrition from these is just wonderful. So that's going to be a problem. I will cover this and turn this way down, just to a bare simmer there. Then the next thing I'm going to get going is our canned chicken. What we do is we look for chicken to go on a big sale. This was chicken breast, and then we cut it into chunks and pressure can it, and then it's always waiting for us, and we're paying very little money for that. I like to cook this a little while on the stove, a little extra water there. And now I will light this burner. Get this one going. I tend to turn these up real high to start with. In a few minutes, we will add this chicken to the rice and let it cook together. Also going to make some gravy, and we will heat up some of our green beans that we canned out of our garden last year. So all of this will come from our food stockpile. I've got a little envelope of chicken gravy mix, sort of a cheat, but it's quick and easy, and it'll last a long time in our food storage. So there you go. Let's give this some time, and we'll come back and hopefully have a nice dinner to serve in a few minutes. Our rice has been cooking for about 15 minutes or so. The chicken has boiled for about that same amount of time, so I'm going to lightly transfer the chicken pieces onto the top of the rice, and we will stir them into the rice. They're both hot now. In the meantime, I'm going to put these green beans, our home canned green beans, put them on the stove top. Get them warmed up also. The rice is harder for me to cook on this gas stove because I'm used to my electric stove and I know exactly what number to turn the knob to for it to cook, and at the house exactly 20 minutes and it's done, and these proportions always work. It seemed to me that this was cooking a little fast tonight, but when I turned it down, mosquitoes, when I turned it down, then the flame went out. So I need to play with the gas stove a little bit more. For those of you who have them all the time, you already know what to do. Now, I think I will take this off and let that rice just finish cooking. And I'm going to measure out my liquid. Make sure I don't have runny gravy. Get this cooking over here. Somehow. Open on my little packet of gravy. I like to start with the dry in the pot first and then add the liquid. But since this burner's already on, it's going to be a quick cook here. Pretty close. Save a little bit of that out. You can always add more, but it's hard to take away too much liquid. So this should be cooking for us in just a couple of minutes, and we can go inside and eat our good dinner. Planning to open a can of peaches that we had in our food stockpile to make this a meal, and we're going to be doing very well with no electricity to cook our meal. We'll show you the finished product in just a minute. Now it's the best time, the time to eat everything that we fixed out of our food storage. We've got our canned peaches, we've got our home canned green beans, we've got gravy, we've got our chicken and rice with the longevity spinach, and it all looks good, smells very good, and hope that you can make a meal like this sometime yourself. Think ahead, what could we do with the food we've stored to make a good meal for our family without electricity? Please give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done that yet, and leave us some comments. Let us know what appeals to you or other things that you have tried that have been successful for you, and we can share ideas. Until next